Hey everyone, this is Rachel. Thanks for clicking on my video. And y'all, today I came in with a bit of a story time. Now, I know I haven't been on in a while, but something happened at Walmart recently that made me come in and talk about what's going on in the country today. And that's the part of my story time, which is going to lead into everything that's going on in the country race wise here lately. So the other day, y'all, I got off work and I needed a few things from Walmart. So when I went to Walmart, y'all, I had on some heels. So I'm walking through the store trying to get all my little groceries. And by the time I made it to the register, my feet were hurting, I was hungry, and I was tired. So, as always, at Walmart, they only had like four lines open, and it's about 5:30, so you got all the people coming from work, picking up stuff, for dinner or whatever, and you also have a lot of parents out finishing up their last minute school shopping. So the store was packed and the lines were long. So the line I got in, we ended up standing there waiting like 30 minutes. And the way they had the register set up is every other register was open, or every two registers. So right when I was about three people from, it being my turn to check out, I saw a black lady slide in to the line, like she cut the line. In front of me, there was a Mexican family, and in front of them was this African lady. She was all wrapped up in the African garb. So I'm standing back there, and I kind of leaned to the side to make sure that what I was seeing happening was actually happening. After us standing in line 30 minutes, this lady walks up and just cuts the line. So at this point, y'all, I had a little bit of an attitude because, like I said, my feet were hurting, I was tired, and I was hungry. So I asked the Mexican family in front of me, I said, did that lady just cut the line after we've been standing here? So the guy said, yeah. And then when we were, looking towards the front of the line, I walked up to the African lady who was right behind where this lady cut in line. And I said, did she just get in front of you? And she said, yeah. And I said, well, why didn't you say anything? And the African lady was like, I just don't want any trouble. I don't want any trouble. And I had said, you better than me, because after standing in line almost 40 minutes, that girl would not have been cutting in front of me. Her ankles would have been toe up. So we're standing there, and what we realize is this: her daughter, this is the woman that cut in line, her daughter was in line, and she had a cartload of stuff, and I do mean a cartload. So at first I said, well, Rachel, give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe, she's with her daughter and she had ran and got something. But then at the very last minute, right as her daughter was done checking out, she pulled a cart, another full load of groceries, into our lane. And I'm sitting there, y'all, I am mad. I am pissed because I'm just tired. So while I was standing there, the Mexican guy was like, what it is, the reason why we didn't say anything is just like the African lady said, we don't want any trouble. So I was like, what do you mean? And he said, as you can tell, probably I am Mexican. And I said, yeah. And I said, but that don't have anything to do with it, blah, blah, blah. So he was like, well, you know what's happening in the country. We trying to keep a low profile. We don't want the glare of the spotlight on us. And it stopped me in my tracks, y'all, because I was standing there upset, just because I wanted to hurry up and get through the line. And you have these two families, as I say, because it was the Mexican family and the African lady. She was there alone, but you have these two foreign born folks in line, afraid. And at that point, me and the Mexican guy started talking. So I said, well, you don't have any fear of us. You know it's not us. And by us, I meant black people. I told him, we don't agree with what this president is doing to your people, because hell, just about 5 minutes ago, they were fucking with us. And he said, no, 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 I understand. He said, no, I know that it's not, you know, other people of color who are doing this, and I know y'all don't condone it. He said, but the fact is, it is happening. This guy goes on to tell me, he said, look at my cart. Do you see all the stuff that we have? And their cart was loaded with food. He said that he and his wife, they used to enjoy just going out, into the city, handling their business, going shopping, taking their little kids to the park because they had two little kids in the cart. And he said, but with everything that's going on, we find that we just go to work, we come home, and we kind of stay near our home because of what's happening. He said that they only go out and buy groceries and pick up little things that they need because they're afraid. And y'all, I just could not believe it. So as we're standing there in line, he continues on talking to me. He said that when he's coming home from work or going to work, that he's afraid when he's driving. He said that if he sees a police car in his rearview mirror, that he's so afraid that his toes almost curl. And then he went on to say that he was a man. And he said, do you know what it feels like to be helpless, where I can't protect my family, where I feel like I'm being hunted? So as we're talking, I asked him how long had he been in the United States. Now, y'all, this young man looked like he was about in his mid 30s or so, if that old. And he said he had been here going on 26 years. So it sounded like he came when he was, a little kid between the ages of maybe 8 or so, because I really don't know how old he was. And I asked him, was he what they consider legal? And he said yes. But what he went on to explain is, I am the legal that now they're focusing on. He said that he had been in the country, and that, I guess what he was trying to say is he's not a legal resident yet, that he hasn't taken the test and all of that you need to take to become a United States citizen, but he's here legally. I guess he came in the right way. But he was explaining that in today's world, that doesn't matter, that they still harass him. And so I had asked him, I said, so you're being harassed? And he said, yeah. And I said, by who? And he told me, white people. And y'all, it broke my heart. He said several times that he's been out at the park with his family, and that he's been told to go back to where he came from, and been followed to his car when he gathered up his kids and his wife to leave the park. They followed him to his car and was telling him that he was there illegally, taking jobs from real Americans and all of that. And y'all, when this young man was explaining all of that to me, I was first of all disgusted by what is going on with this president and him riling up the white masses. I was disgusted that here's a young man that is basically just here trying to take care of his family. Because as this young man talked, he said, we don't bother anyone. He kept repeating that over and over throughout the time that we spent talking. He said, all I do is go to work and try to make a way for my family and take care of my family like everyone else. He says, I'm not bothering anyone. And the African lady at that point realized what we were talking about, and she was saying the same thing. She said that we don't bother anyone. We just want to live in peace, just as everyone else is. And they told me that I was lucky. And I was standing there and I said, explain. And they said, you're black, but you are an American citizen. And I said, well, hold on, because, they still are messing with us. I told them that with everything that's going on in the country, do they see now that all this racism that this president has drummed up, it has started white people basically fucking with black people too. You see all the instances of them calling the police or them pulling guns on innocent young people. Y'all, like I said, that whole experience in Walmart opened my eyes to, well, I can't say open them because they were already open. I'll say this, further open my eyes to what's going on. It is so much shit happening race-wise lately that it it scares me. I am 54 years old. I've lived through quite a few presidents, and I've never seen anything like this in my lifetime. Now, I know that when our parents were young people, they went through Jim Crow, they went through the turbulent 60s, but I, as a 54-year-old woman, have never seen racism this blatant. By the time I became a teenager, I'm not going to say things were good, but they had calmed down from the 60s and the early 70s. So basically, my generation reap the benefits of what our parents from the 60s and the 70s did. All the marching, the fighting, the protesting. My generation reaped the benefits of that. So we didn't suffer as openly as our parents did, because at that point white people started to know that that blatant racism wasn't politically correct. I'm not saying that it stopped, but it wasn't as prevalent as it was in the 60s, early 70s, and even further back. So when I'm standing there talking to this Mexican family, y'all, my heart went out to them. Now, y'all, I did a video about a month or two ago about the situation at the border, how these immigrants are being treated. And I got a mixed bag of responses, but mainly the response I got back was that people really don't care. They feel like it's not black people, so why should they even worry? I even had one commenter say, well, Mexicans don't like us anyway. Y'all, that stunned me. And the reason why is because when they start messing with other groups of people of color, they are one step away from messing with us. And proof of that is all of the stuff that is coming out and that is being done to black people, right along with what's going on with the people that are coming here, the Mexicans. I cannot get with turning a blind eye to what is going on with these people and what is being done to them. One thing that Mexican guy was said to me that also stopped me in my tracks. He said that if all of the people of color banded together and stood up against racism, that maybe it would get better. He went on to explain that the problem with white America is that they're afraid of this general browning of the country. And that is so true. They are so used to them being in the majority and us, people of color, being in the minority. But what has been happening over the last couple of decades or so is that brown people, brown and black, are having more children. And what that's causing is a gradual browning of this country. And that fact is driving them fucking crazy, y'all. They do not want to live in a country where they are the minority because they know what they've done to us. So as I think about everything that's happening, y'all, I do agree with that young Mexican guy that we all need to stand together. I don't know how we as black people can forget what happened to us. What is happening now to these Mexicans is what happened to us. And we didn't even ask to be brought here. You know, they went to Africa to get to us. These Mexicans and these other immigrants that are coming here, they're coming here for a better life, you know. And people say, well, you know, if that's the case, come in the right way, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that is true. But even if they come in the wrong way, is it right for us to treat them as we do? Do you know that I was watching the news or reading something the other day, and they spoke to a lot of these children that are in these, I call them concentration camps. And these children are complaining about being abused, not only physically, but sexually, that they're being molested. How could you in your heart turn a blind eye to that, or have no feeling, or say something like, well, as long as it's not our children? Y'all, we have gotten to the point in America where we just don't care. We're so busy worried about what's going on here on YouTube, or what's going on with the housewife shows and these reality shows and these celebrities, that we're not paying attention to real life and what is happening. Because make no mistake, when they're fucking with the Mexicans and other people of color, we're next, y'all. Don't y'all know that? They hate us even more than they hate them. It's a proven fact. And as I was standing there in that line at Walmart, the Mexican guy talked about the shooting in El Paso and the shooting here in Dayton. But he focused on that shooting in El Paso. And he's told me, he said, you know, that shooter targeted those people in El Paso for a reason. And I told him that I did understand that. He said that his people were under attack. He talked about how this president, which we all know that he's a racist, he said that this president is a blatant racist. He talked about how this is similar to what occurred over in Germany during the beginning of the Holocaust with the Jews. And he said that he's afraid. He's afraid for his family. He's afraid that he's going to go to work one day, and even though he's legal, they're going to snatch him from his job or snatch his wife from her job, and that there will be no one to pick their kids up from daycare. Y'all, when I was standing there talking to this young man, it brought it all home for me. It brought it home. It's one thing to come home at the end of a work day and watch on the news what's going on with these people at the border, or ICE raids where they're waiting until people drop their kids off at school and they go to work and they're raiding their places of employment. It's one thing to watch it on television, but when you're standing in line at Walmart and you meet a young man who, when I looked in his eyes, I could see the fear in his eyes. And I could see also a bit of defiance, because he kept saying, I'm a man. I should be able to protect my family. And he was saying to me, what have I done to them that makes them hate me so much? What has my people done? He said, It cannot just be the color of our skin. And I basically told him, young man, it is. It's exactly what you said. They're afraid of this browning of America. And that fear is driving them to do and say crazy shit. And they're also being supported by the White House, by this racist that we have in the White House. Have y'all been listening and watching some of the things that he's been saying and doing? It is so blatant that it's unbelievable. And the silence of the good Americans is worrying me, because when you see injustice, when you see that what this man is doing is wrong and you don't speak up or speak out, then it's almost like you're condoning this behavior. This is the same thing that happened in Germany when, Hitler rose to power and started gathering up the Jews, exterminating them. This is what happened. I don't understand, you know, the silence in America, or how these congressmen and senators, the Republican ones, can stand by him. It worries me, just as it worried that young man in that Walmart line. What is going to happen in the next year and a half, y'all? Because we still have quite a while for this man to be in office if he's not impeached, and it doesn't look like that they're going to be impeaching him. We have quite a bit of time left. Y'all, when I think about the way history is going to record this time that we're living in now, I'm worried. I'm worried for my children. I'm worried for the state of our country. I'm just worried. We have never quite, as black people, been welcome here in this country. You know they hate us. So what I don't understand, and I guess this is my whole reason for making this video, what I don't understand is, we know what our people went through. We know the struggles and the fights that we had, and we didn't fight alone. There were other, groups of people that helped us in our fight. Mainly it was us dying in the fight. But because we know what we went through, how can we stand by in silence and watch what's going on with these other people of color and be indifferent to their suffering and indifferent to their pain? When I sat here the other day and watched those children who had just gone to school and their parents were snatched from them and they were just crying, it broke my heart, y'all. Because I was imagining something like that happening to my children, and imagining what was going through their heads, especially that one little girl that said her father didn't do anything. I don't know, y'all. This stuff, this mess that this man has stirred up, like my mother said, it's going to take a long time for us to get just back to where we were before he came into office. A long time, because he has turned over the rock, and all of these racist people have come scurrying out. They've always been there. They've always been there. Make no mistake of that. But now he has made it to where it is almost okay for them to just be blatantly racist. I don't know, y'all. Tell me what you think of what's going on with these other minority groups And do you feel any empathy for them? Or do you feel like that's their business? Why should we involve ourselves? You know, I don't know. I just, y'all, this is a bad time in America. It is really bad. Let me know what you think about the video. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care now. Bye-bye.